It felt like a wasted day, just all around. So last week, Trey's the starter, and looks like he's confident. Looks like the team's confident in him. He gets all the first team reps. Today, Sam's a starter, but he gets like 2/3 of the first team reps, and then Trey gets some of them. And there's no explanation. Like, well, does that mean Trey's not playing well? Or is it because Jeff Darlington said this morning that Trey's been getting all the first team reps, so you're trolling him? Like, what is the reason? So all of a sudden, there's a question: Is Trey messing up? And then Darnold gets out there, and it's not like he's playing super confidently. Like, Darnold has no confidence. He didn't have confidence before he got here. He still has no confidence. And he's just throwing check down pass after check down pass. And then Trey gets out there and is like, okay, well, here's Trey. He's going to differentiate himself and show that he's better than Sam, and he's doing the same thing. And so to me, it's kind of heartbreaking. Like, you got two young quarterbacks with confidence issues, and basically the quarterback competition is saying both of them, like, you guys both suck. We hope Brock comes back. And in the meantime, you guys can battle it out. We have no confidence in either of you. And what you had, honestly, today was two quarterbacks trying to play like Brock Purdy. It's like two quarterbacks with real talent, real upside, who went third in the draft, both trying to play like Mr. Irrelevant. Like, guys. And it's not, you can't even blame them because it feels like that's what the coach wants, right? It's pretty heartbreaking.
Well, let me ask you this, because I feel like the knock on Trey Lance isn't the big down the field stuff. It's he can't do the simple basics. I mean, the man can't even check down and be accurate. That's the narrative that a lot of people
can do that now.
So isn't he doing that and kind of proving, hey, by the way, if that's what you're asking me to do, I can do those things. I can be that guy.
Trey's better than Sam. Trey's better than Sam. But I don't know that Kyle thinks that. You know what I mean? And I feel like that he's putting Trey in a situation where he can't show that he's special. It's like Trey, like there's no zone read, there's no running. It's like, hey, play like Brock, be super, understated and Sorry, Brock, but it's like if someone's going to end up being special, it's not Brock. It's going to end up being Trey. But like you're asking him to not be special and to just be super like functional. It doesn't make any sense. It's too bad. But he did have a really nice deep ball. And here's the thing. So we only at some of the practices. I don't want to go too negative here because most of the practices the media isn't there. It's possible when the media is not there, Trey's letting it rip, and he just doesn't want to, give the media fodder, which is too bad because he shouldn't worry about that. But it's the situation. The Niners are creating drama, and they're not explaining why one guy started and the other guy started. So it's like maybe it's a symptom of a quarterback competition in front of the media. If you do that, you're going to have both guys check down all day. Maybe on the other days they don't. I don't know. It's possible.
It does seem a little bit like the 49ers are trolling people at this point, because last week they had all three quarterbacks talk. They had an odd order between the three of them. Then the report comes out that Trey Lance taking all the first team reps, but today he's not. It's Sam. And so it just seems like they really are like, you know what? Let's just mess with them. Who cares? We've got our internal thoughts. Or maybe it's just, hey, we're really going to have a legit competition here, but for now, let's just mess with these guys. Like there's nothing that we gain by staying status quo here.
I just feel like they could be trying to mess with the media, but what they're doing is messing with their quarterbacks. Because, and I keep coming back to Kyle and young quarterbacks. I don't think Kyle's a good coach for young quarterbacks because quarterback is the toughest position to play in sports. Agreed?
Yes.
It's the hardest position to play in sports. And it's really hard to play when you're young. So what you need is a coach who pumps you full of confidence and says, look, dude, you're going to be great. I'm going to help you. If you mess up, don't worry about it. You're our guy till the wheels fall off. Every young quarterback needs that. I mean, Joe Burrow's had that every step of the way in Cincinnati. Trevor Lawrence had it every step of the way in Jacksonville. They didn't blink when Troy Aikman was losing games in Dallas. Same with Peyton Manning. Like you have to instill that confidence in your young quarterback. Otherwise, there's no point. Jim Harbaugh did it for Colin Kaepernick. And when the Niners traded up for Trey, I was intrigued because I was thinking, man, if Kyle does that for Trey, that's going to carry weight. He's Kyle freaking Shanahan. And he's going to say, I believe in you, but he never did it. In fact, he does the opposite. He keeps saying, you suck, you suck, you suck. And he says it to every quarterback. He says it to every quarterback. And so the only guy who can really put up with that is someone who's 30 years old, who really knows who they are, who knows deep down they don't suck. Someone like Matt Ryan, someone like Matt Schaub. And Kyle has none of those quarterbacks on this team. It's a little alarming.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. And that was one of my biggest things when I walk through the timeline of Trey Lance and how I feel like they never really fully backed him through the media, putting him on the programs, putting the banner in front of the stadium, keeping Jimmy around. That was my advice to them this offseason with Brock Purdy. It's, hey, if Brock Purdy's your guy, that's fine. I disagree with that you're going to go all in. But if that's it, then make sure you go all in with him. Don't do to him what you did to Trey Lance, because what you did to Trey Lance didn't work, or hasn't worked to this point. No. And it didn't work for RG3, and it didn't work for every other young quarterback you've ever coached. Do something different for Brock Purdy if he truly is the guy.
Let me tell you something.
It just doesn't seem like they're doing that.
Did you listen to Chris Forrester talk today?
No.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to put it on my website later, on my YouTube channel. And everyone needs to watch it. It's great. But it's also, it's incriminating. And I'll explain why. He's a very good coach. And he's a coach's coach. He's a teacher. So we're asking about Colton McKivitz. And why is this okay? Like, why are you confident? The guy, because he's essentially the Trey Lance of the offensive line, right? 5 career starts. Like, why are you so confident that this guy can just walk in and start? And he goes, well, it's interesting. It's very important. But with Colton, he knows he's the man. There's a competition, like essentially if he falls on his face. But it's his job, and we've made that clear. And I think it's very important for a young player to know that. Because, right, he says that, because it's important for their confidence and it's a tough position to play. And he's like, we did that for Aaron Banks last year. We sat Aaron Banks down before the season started. I brought him in my office, and I said, Aaron, it's your job, okay? We're riding with you until the wheels fall off. He said that. So if that's how the Niners think it's the best way to prepare a young left guard, a young right tackle, a young center to play, why are you having a quarterback competition? Because what you're telling them is that you think both of them suck. That's what you're telling them. You're not telling Colton McKivitz. You're telling Colton McKivitz, dog, is your job. We'll ride with you till the wheels fall off. But quarterback, hey man, you guys both freaking stink. It's just the wrong message. Pick one. Pick one and pump them full of confidence, and then hope Brock comes back.
So I didn't watch the full interview, but I did see like little excerpts. Didn't he also parlay that into talking about Burford, or maybe the other way around, where he's like, hey, last year he kind of had to look over his shoulder. He used those words. He had to look over his shoulder, but this year
now
he
it's
knows
his job.
It's his job. He should have a lot more confidence in himself. And he talks literally about them just like we talk.
And it's like the offensive line coach gets it, but they don't understand. They can't apply the same logic to the most important position on the team. And the whole thing is, again, it's hard to play offensive line in the NFL. It's hard to play quarterback in the NFL, especially if you're young and inexperienced. So what do you need? Confidence, because you'll lose it immediately. And if you don't have confidence, you're screwed. You can't play. Screwed. So as a coach, your job is your number one job is to, first of all, don't kill their confidence. And 2, if you're a good coach, find a way to pump it up. But Kyle is over here he has Trey in therapy, Jesse. That's not even a joke. He has Trey in therapy. He does the opposite to young quarterbacks. It's a shame. He should have enough self-awareness to be like, look, man, Trey, I'm going to trade you. Sam, I'm not going to sign you. I'm not the right coach for you, dude. You need a confidence boost. That's not me. You need Mike McDaniel. Not me. And here's what I don't respect about Kyle. Why is Trey still on the team, man? If you can't back him, cut him. Trade him for a 6th. Let some other coach do it. But you're afraid. You're scared because you know deep down you never coached him. Because you're not a coach. You're a play caller and you're a play designer, but you're not a teacher. You can't teach a quarterback. That's why you get all your quarterbacks injured. The young ones. You do a lot of things really well, man. You got the best playbook in the league. Well, one of them. But you're not a coach, dude. And that's why Trey's on the team, because you're afraid a real coach is going to take him and do what you didn't do. Prove me wrong, Kyle.
What's interesting is, God, I don't know how far I want to go down this rabbit hole, but it does seem, and we've talked about this a lot, how there's this weird thing that goes on with quarterbacks and Kyle Shanahan, how quarterbacks play their best ball in this system, but once they leave the system, they're not actually better players. They just executed the system, and the system is so good, and Kyle's so good at drawing things up that he makes these guys look better than what they are. And then once they leave, they never actually improved. They just learned his system, were good in that, and then it's like, well, what did you actually get better at? What were you?
He broke a lot of quarterbacks though.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens with Jimmy. Although I don't have high expectations for Jimmy, but He did break a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He did. He did.
He did, man.
He did break a lot of quarterbacks. That's true. But then there's the flip side of he's so good at developing his coaches.
Yeah.
And they are good in turn at developing players that aren't the quarterback position. It's so I don't know. It's
they do so many things well, but at the quarterback spot, they're having a competition. And honestly, I think it's bringing out the worst in them in both quarterbacks. Like people were there. I don't know what people thought they saw today, if they were impressed with Sam Darnold or Trey Lance. I saw two quarterbacks with no confidence on the field having a check down contest. It was, honestly, I would call it heartbreaking. Like if Steve Young were on the field and he was competing with Sam Darnold, he would have blown him out of the water and showed, like, let me differentiate myself. If Colin Kaepernick was on the field, like, oh, you're just gonna check down every time. Okay, well, I'm gonna impress everyone since you're clearly just mailing the day in. And to Trey's credit, when they called one deep shot, he nailed it. Freaking nailed it. But the other, like, 10 throws, it's like, man. And I'm not trying to, like, both of them. Like, you had guys open the intermediate level and you check down immediately. Like, and so that sucks on their part. But at the same time, like, Kyle, you're the coach, man. Do you see what your structure is creating at this position? Like, hey, why is Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel not here? Like, is this not a waste of their time? From their perspective, like, yo, get back to me when you know who the quarterback is. I'll show up. Honestly, like if there was a lot of excitement about this team, like, dude, we got this crazy quarterback, right? He's balling. Like, I would want to go just to see it. But the fact that those guys aren't even there, it's like, man, we got this mid off at quarterback right now. They're throwing check downs. You don't want to be there just right now. You don't want to go. You don't want to go.
Deebo did show up today, though. He just wasn't practicing.
Trent didn't. Yes. Oh, Deebo showed up. Deebo showed up. He did. Trent didn't. No. But he never does. Anyway, let me say one more thing to end this on a positive note. I don't feel the quarterback competition's really started yet. The quarterback competition starts in training camp, and here's what I mean. When the training camp starts, Bosa will be out there, Armstead will be out there, Fred Warner will be out there, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa, Travarius Ward. Like, the number one defense in the league is going to be out there. And so whatever quarterback is playing is going to mostly get his butt kicked. This is what it is. That's the experience of playing quarterback QB1 in training camp with the Jimmy, ask Trey. You get your butt kicked. So we'll see who gets their butt kicked less. Trey or Sam. Or hey, if Brock comes back, you do it, dude. Let's see how good it looks with you on the field. Because honestly, you never face this defense.
Yeah.
So that's what the quarterback competition is going to be. Man, it hasn't even started yet.
I'm looking forward to it. It's funny because, you know, the one thing that Brock Purdy has going for him that we saw play out last year, that's why I liked him a lot in college, was his confidence. Kid has killer confidence. So he has the confidence, like, he can
but now he has Kyle as his head coach.
All the things.
Now he has Kyle as his head coach. So he's already had one surgery. When's he going to be in therapy? Is he in therapy already? I'm just saying, man. Like, you think you're confident until you come across Kyle Shanahan. You think you're confident until you have one of the preeminent offensive minds in the world telling you you suck to your face in front of the whole team. That's tough. Then you got his protege down in Miami saying, you're great, Tua. It's like he was in the background being like, if I ever get the shot to be a CEO, I'm going to do one thing different. Gotta love that.
Well, there was the one story that came out, was it last summer? I don't remember, where it was you talked about it. It was a few months ago with your dad. Where he had whispered something in over the mic during the game, like, basically like, hey, Kyle, man, why don't you ease up a little bit? You know, why don't you have some fun out here? You know,
it was the end of the 2020 season, I believe. Nick Mullins was playing in LA against the Rams.
Yeah.
Kyle called a pass and he did one of these, like, he wanted the ball to go to a certain thing, to go to a certain spot, but he couldn't see that the corner was playing off and basically was sitting on that, and Mullins saw it, so he threw somewhere else, got a completion, and Kyle flipped out because the ball didn't go where he went. And, like, I guess like 5 minutes go by, and then McDaniel pops in the headset like, hey, wasn't Nick Mullins right because there was cloud coverage on that side, and if you throw the pass, it would have gotten intercepted? And Kyle says nothing. Hey, wasn't Nick right on that one? Yeah.
Polar opposites,
again, like, if you want young quarterbacks, that's how you have to be. Dude, you're good. You're good. And it's not his personality. He'll freely admit that. So don't ruin these kids' careers, man, because it's not funny. And look at the wreckage that lies in your wake, dude. Robert Griffin, Nick Mullins, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy. We don't know what Brock Purdy's going to be like after you got his arm ruined and blamed him for it. So that's another one, man. Don't work with young quarterbacks anymore. This is your last chance. And it's not looking so good so far because you got 2 quarterbacks with no confidence that you're going to make even less confident, and a guy with guy in a sling. No, he threw a ball today. Woo! Don't know what kind of ball, though. Kyle, ease up.